Does it make you feel like you've really fulfilled your life, that you've done everything you've wanted to do?
I surpassed all dreams I've ever had in life.
Merle Haggard, a true country music icon, passed away on April 6, 2016, on what would have been his 79th birthday, leaving behind a profound legacy that resonates with music lovers to this day. Known for his raw authenticity and unmistakable voice, Haggard's music captured the essence of the working-class American spirit, a reflection of his own life full of adversity and perseverance. His journey from troubled youth to country music legend is a testament to his resilience, an outlaw poet who found solace and strength in his music. Haggard's songs, deeply rooted in his personal struggles, spoke to generations of listeners who saw in him not just an artist, but a voice for the unheard. His career was not just about chart-topping hits, but also about speaking truths, sharing stories of hardship, regret, and redemption. These themes, raw and unfiltered, made him a beloved figure in the world of country music and beyond. Yet, his final years were marked by both health battles and personal reflection, adding an additional layer to the man behind the music. As we remember Merle Haggard today, we look back at a life that was both turbulent and triumphant. His widow, Teresa Ann Lane, has spoken openly about the man she knew, shedding light on some long-held rumors and offering an intimate look into the final chapters of his life. She has revealed the profound awareness Haggard had of his mortality, sharing how he faced his illness and eventual passing with a quiet understanding. His death, as he had foreseen, occurred on his 79th birthday, a poignant and eerie reflection of his own predictions. This is the story of a man who defied the odds, who lived a life of struggle and success, and who left behind not just music, but a legacy of honesty and authenticity. Join us as we explore Merle Haggard's extraordinary journey, from the troubled youth to the man who became the voice of the working class, and ultimately, the soul of country music. Merle Haggard's story began in a world far from easy, a world shaped by the relentless challenges of the Great Depression. Born in 1937, Merle's early years were defined by a time of great adversity. His family, like many others, struggled to survive in the wake of economic turmoil. The Haggard household was far from wealthy, and the future seemed uncertain. Yet, in the face of hardship, Merle's parents, Flossie and James, were determined to create a better life for their children. They worked tirelessly to carve out a space in a world that seemed indifferent to their struggles. This resilience became a defining trait in Merle's own life, one that he would carry with him as he faced challenges of his own. Born into this world of economic strife, Merle's family journeyed to California, one of the many families driven westward by the devastation of the Dust Bowl. The decision to leave Oklahoma and seek new opportunities in California was not easy, but it was born of necessity. In 1934, a devastating fire destroyed the Haggard family's barn, a tragic event that, coupled with the economic despair of the time, forced them to pack up their belongings and head west. They weren't alone in this decision. Countless families, looking for a new beginning, made the same difficult journey. California, and specifically the town of Bakersfield, would become the place that shaped Merle's future. When they arrived, the Haggards found a modest beginning. They settled in a small boxcar in Oildale, a town just outside Bakersfield. The house, created out of a repurposed boxcar, became a symbol of their ingenuity and persistence in the face of adversity. It wasn't much, but it was a home, a starting point. James, Merle's father, worked for the Santa Fe Railroad, providing a small degree of financial security. Still, The conditions were far from comfortable. The Haggard family made do with what they had, building a life in a place that would later become a cultural hub for country music. It was in this humble setting that Merle's life began to take shape. However, tragedy struck early in Merle's life. When he was just 9 years old, Merle's father, James, passed away suddenly from a brain hemorrhage. This loss was a devastating blow to young Merle, and it would reverberate throughout his life. James had been the stabilizing force in the Haggard household, providing structure and guidance to his children. His sudden death left a void that Merle would struggle to fill. Without the presence of his father, Merle's life would take a darker turn. The grief from losing his father, compounded by the absence of a male role model, led him down a path of rebellion and anger. In the years that followed, Merle's behavior became increasingly erratic. He began to defy authority, acting out against the strictures of school and society. His rebelliousness only intensified after his father's death, as the pain of the loss went largely unaddressed. Without a father figure to guide him, Merle found solace in the wrong places, engaging in petty criminal activity and getting into trouble with the law. At a time when many young people were finding their place in the world, Merle was struggling to find his footing. The absence of his father created a deep emotional wound, and without the right guidance, Merle became a troubled youth, disconnected from the world around him. The weight of this loss was heavy on Merle's shoulders. His mother, Flossie, had to work long hours to support the family, leaving Merle with more freedom than was healthy for a boy in his situation. His behavior spiraled out of control, and by the time he was 12, he had begun to engage in more serious offenses. His mother, desperate to correct his path, sent him to a juvenile detention center in an attempt to scare him straight. But instead of serving as a wake-up call, the experience seemed to harden Merle further, reinforcing his rebellious nature. The experience was just one of many in a long line of misadventures that would shape the course of his early life. The emotional turmoil Merle faced in these formative years marked the beginning of a long period of struggle. His father's death, coupled with the absence of a solid male role model, planted the seeds of rebellion that would take root in his heart. By the time he reached his teens, Merle had become a troubled and lost young man, cast adrift in a world that seemed to have little place for him. Yet, even in the darkest times, music provided Merle with a lifeline, a way to express his grief and confusion. It was in the midst of this turmoil that Merle found the guitar, a gift from his older brother, Lowell. The guitar would become Merle's outlet, his way of processing the pain that consumed him. He began to teach himself to play, drawing inspiration from the country legends who spoke to him through their music. Artists like Bob Wills, Lefty Frizzell, and Hank Williams became his guiding lights, and the melodies of their songs helped to ease the anguish that weighed so heavily on him. Although Merle had no formal musical training, his raw talent and determination to learn on his own proved to be the key to unlocking his future. Music, in many ways, became his salvation, a means of finding meaning in a life that had so far been filled with confusion and hardship. As the years passed, Merle's rebellious behavior continued to escalate, eventually leading him down a path that would see him incarcerated. But even as he ventured further into trouble, music remained a constant companion. The pain of losing his father, the isolation he felt in his youth, and the rebellion that defined his early years would all be channeled into his songwriting, laying the foundation for the music that would make him a household name. The journey from troubled youth to country music legend was a long and difficult one, but it was a journey that would define Merle Haggard's legacy for generations to come. Merle Haggard's youth was one of turmoil and defiance. His early years were shaped by a growing disregard for authority, fueled by anger, confusion, and a deep sense of loss. As a young man, he found himself caught up in a cycle of petty crime, stealing, forging checks, and getting into trouble wherever he went. His rebellious nature, amplified by the absence of a father and the harsh realities of his environment, led him down a dangerous path. These actions weren't just moments of teenage mischief, but signs of a deeper pain and frustration that Merle was struggling to navigate. Each act of rebellion pushed him further toward a life that seemed destined for destruction. Merle's criminal activity escalated as he got older. His first real brush with the law came when he was just 13, stealing and getting into trouble for minor offenses. But the pattern only deepened, leading him to run away from home and ultimately find himself involved in even more serious crimes. Escaping from juvenile detention centers became a recurring theme, as Merle struggled to find his place in a world that seemed to offer little support or understanding. His criminal history continued to spiral, and by the time he was 20, Merle's defiance had caught up with him. His youth was spent in and out of institutions, each experience leaving its mark and hardening his rebellious streak. At the age of 20, Merle's troubled life caught up with him in the form of a prison sentence. Sentenced to San Quentin, one of the most notorious prisons in California, Merle found himself thrust into a brutal and unforgiving world. San Quentin was not just a prison, it was a place where the harshest realities of life were laid bare, where men fought for survival and struggled against the oppressive weight of their past mistakes. For Merle, prison wasn't just a consequence of his actions. It was a wake-up call that forced him to face the consequences of the life he had led. It wasn't just the physical prison that weighed on him. Merle was also grappling with personal turmoil. He learned that his wife, whom he had left behind, was pregnant with another man's child. The emotional toll of this revelation was devastating. The betrayal he felt compounded the stress and hardship of his prison sentence, leaving him in a dark place mentally and emotionally. His time at San Quentin, however, became a crucial turning point. For the first time, Merle realized the depth of the choices he had made, and he began to question the path he was on. Despite the harsh environment of San Quentin, something shifted in Merle during his time there. The turning point came in an unexpected form, a performance by country legend Johnny Cash. Cash, who had his own history with the law and had performed in prisons before, came to San Quentin to play for the inmates. The concert was more than just music. It was a moment of connection and hope. Watching Johnny Cash, a man who had faced his own demons and found redemption, was a revelation for Merle. It was in that moment, in the depths of despair, that Merle saw a glimmer of possibility, a way out of the darkness that had consumed him for so long. Cash's performance became an inspiration, igniting a spark in Merle that would ultimately lead him to seek redemption through his own music. The performance by Johnny Cash planted the seed for Merle's future. It was a moment of clarity, a realization that he too could overcome his past, that music could be his path to redemption. He began to understand that the power of song could be more than just entertainment. It could be a means of healing, a way to channel his pain and frustration into something productive and meaningful. The seeds of his future success as a country music legend were sown that day. In the years that followed, Merle would go on to use his music as a way to connect with others, to share his story, and to ultimately find peace with his past. For Merle, the prison walls were not just a physical confinement. They represented the emotional and psychological barriers he had built up over the years. Yet, it was behind those very walls that he began to find his voice, his purpose, and his way forward. His time in San Quentin was more than a punishment. It was a crucial chapter in his journey toward redemption, a journey that would take him from the depths of despair to the heights of musical fame. His experience behind bars didn't break him. Instead, it set the stage for the man he would become, a man who would go on to change the face of country music forever. After being released from San Quentin in 1960, Merle Haggard found himself facing the harsh reality of life on the outside. The road ahead was uncertain, and the freedom he had gained was tempered by the weight of his past. At first, Merle returned to a series of odd jobs, doing whatever he could to make ends meet. He worked a variety of menial jobs, including driving a truck, working as a short-order cook, and pitching hay, each task a reminder of the struggles that had defined much of his youth. Yet, through all the hardship, there was one thing that remained constant: his love for music. Merle knew that he couldn't escape the pull of the stage, the call of the guitar. Music was his passion, his lifeline, and it was in the music that he found a sense of purpose. His return to music wasn't immediate, but the turning point came in 1962 when he had the opportunity to perform at a Wynn Stewart show in Las Vegas. It was here that he first encountered the song "Sing a Sad Song," which would become his breakthrough hit. When he recorded the song, it marked the beginning of his climb from the fringes of the country music scene to the spotlight. The song didn't just resonate with listeners, it was a reflection of the personal pain and heartbreak Merle had experienced throughout his life. This performance was a pivotal moment, the catalyst that would launch his career and set him on the path to becoming one of the greatest country music artists of all time. Merle's first real taste of success came soon after, with the release of his first top 10 hit, "My Friends Are Gonna Be Strangers." This was followed by his first #1 hit, "I'm a Lonesome Fugitive," which solidified his place in the country music world. The song's themes of loss, loneliness, and the struggle of the working class resonated deeply with fans. Haggard's voice, raw and powerful, became the voice of a generation that felt misunderstood, forgotten, and left behind. For many, Merle's music wasn't just entertainment. It was a reflection of their own struggles, their own experiences. With these early hits, Merle not only became a chart-topping artist, but he also became a cultural icon, a voice for the voiceless. As Merle's career progressed, his sound evolved, and so did his place within the country music scene. He became synonymous with the Bakersfield sound, a genre that was characterized by its electric, raw, and rebellious take on country music. The Bakersfield sound was a direct contrast to the polished, mainstream country music that dominated the airwaves at the time. Merle, with his gritty, unapologetic style, embodied this new sound, and it quickly became his trademark. The sound, with its driving rhythms and stripped-down arrangements, captured the essence of Merle's own journey: honest, rough, and unrelenting. This new sound resonated not only with country fans, but also with those who felt that the genre had become too commercialized, too sanitized. Merle's music brought the soul back to country music, with lyrics that spoke to the heart of the American experience: work, pain, love, and redemption. It was real, it was authentic, and it was unlike anything the mainstream country music scene had seen before. As Merle played with other musicians in the Bakersfield scene, his influence began to grow, and he quickly became one of the leading figures in the genre. His rise to fame wasn't just about chart-topping hits or sold-out performances. It was about the way his music connected with people on a deep, emotional level. Merle's ability to capture the complexities of life in his lyrics, combined with his unmistakable voice, made him one of the most influential figures in country music history. His songs spoke to the struggles and triumphs of everyday people, painting vivid pictures of the working-class experience and resonating with fans who saw themselves in his music. Throughout the 1960s, Merle continued to build on his success, releasing hit after hit and establishing himself as a force to be reckoned with in country music. His rise to stardom was a reflection of the man he had become, an artist who had overcome his troubled past to become a voice for the people. With each song, he solidified his place as one of the most important figures in country music, a legacy that would endure long after his final performance. Merle Haggard had found his calling, and with it, he had changed the face of country music forever. Merle Haggard's music was more than just entertainment. It was a reflection of the soul of America. His songs, woven with themes of hardship, love, and the search for redemption, struck a chord with listeners from all walks of life. Merle's raw honesty in his lyrics created a powerful connection with fans, many of whom saw their own struggles reflected in his words. From the working-class men and women facing economic hardship to the broken-hearted searching for solace, Merle's songs resonated deeply with a nation. His music wasn't just a soundtrack to their lives. It was their voice, giving expression to their unspoken pain, joy, and everything in between. Whether he was singing about the pain of losing a loved one, the struggle of living paycheck to paycheck, or the longing for a better life, Merle's songs always spoke to the human condition in a way that few others could. Today, Merle's influence is still felt across the country music landscape and beyond. His songs continue to be played on the radio, covered by new artists, and listened to by generations of fans. His voice remains timeless, echoing the struggles of the past and still providing a voice to those who need it today. The authenticity and emotional depth in his music have ensured that his work endures, passing the torch to new generations of listeners and artists alike. Merle's music will never be forgotten because it captures the essence of what it means to be human. The triumphs, the failures, the joys, and the sorrows. His music is an eternal connection to the heart of America. Haggard's influence on country music extends beyond his own catalog of hits. He didn't just contribute to the genre, he reshaped it. Artists from Willie Nelson to Johnny Cash, both of whom held Merle in high regard, have cited his work as a major influence on their own. Nelson, who shares a similar outlaw spirit with Merle, has often spoken of the impact that Haggard's authenticity had on his own musical journey. Cash, too, recognized Merle's importance in shaping the country music landscape. His songs had a direct impact on the music that followed, pushing the boundaries of what country music could be, and, in turn, influencing generations of musicians who came after him. Merle helped define what it meant to be an artist in country music. To be honest, to be raw, and to be unapologetically real. In the years since his passing, Merle's legacy has continued to grow. Tributes to his life and work have poured in from across the globe. Documentaries, tribute concerts, and cover versions of his songs have only served to cement his place in the annals of country music history. Posthumously, Merle has received numerous accolades that recognize the scope of his impact on both the music industry and the cultural landscape. In 2016, he was awarded a Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award, an acknowledgement of his extraordinary contributions to music that transcended genre and generation. His work continues to be celebrated in various ways, from tribute albums to performances by some of today's most prominent country stars. His influence is seen not only in the country genre, but also in the broader musical world, where his honest storytelling and emotional depth have inspired countless artists. Merle's place in history is assured, but it is the way his music continues to speak to the heart of America that makes his legacy so enduring. He didn't just create songs, he created a body of work that resonates across time and space. Whether it's a song about loneliness, redemption, or the everyday struggles of life, Merle Haggard's music transcends the specific circumstances of his time. His voice, full of pain, wisdom, and hope, continues to echo through the years, inviting listeners to reflect on their own lives and experiences. In the end, Merle Haggard's legacy is not only defined by the accolades and awards, but by the impact his music has had on people's lives. His songs have helped countless individuals through difficult times, provided solace in moments of despair, and reminded them that they are not alone. His voice continues to be a comfort to those who remember him, and an inspiration to those who discover his work for the first time. Merle's music is timeless, and his place in country music history is firmly cemented. His influence is undeniable, and it will be felt for generations to come. As we look back on his life and career, we are reminded that Merle's journey was about more than just fame and success. It was about redemption, resilience, and the power of music to transform lives. From the troubled streets of his youth to the grand stages of country music, Merle Haggard's story is one of struggle and triumph, of overcoming adversity, and of using music to connect with others. His journey is a testament to the enduring power of art and its ability to speak to the human experience. Merle Haggard may no longer be with us, but his spirit endures through his music. In every chord he played, in every note he sang, there was a piece of him, his heart, his soul, his story. That story will never fade. His legacy, built on truth, grit, and authenticity, will continue to live on through the songs he wrote, the performances he gave, and the impact he had on those who listened. Merle's music will forever be a part of the fabric of country music, and his voice will continue to inspire for generations to come. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Merle Haggard's life and legacy, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and share this video with fellow country music fans. We've got more stories coming your way, exploring the lives and legacies of the legends who shaped country music. Don't miss out on these incredible journeys through the history of music. Stay tuned as we continue to bring you closer to the icons who defined the sound of a generation. Subscribe now and be part of the conversation.